The operation began with a tip-off from the community. Residents had noticed suspicious activity around a property and reported it to the public emergency call center. It was the kind of call that could easily have been ignored or dismissed as overreaction, but this time it wasn't. NSO officers responded, and when they arrived at the address, they were granted permission to enter the property. What awaited them inside shocked even seasoned law enforcement officials. Just after sunrise, in what appeared to be an ordinary Durbanville neighborhood, where mornings usually begin with traffic hum and quiet routine, police walked into a house that concealed something far more dangerous than anyone outside could see. Behind closed doors, out of sight from unsuspecting residents, more than 2,000 liters of illicit alcohol were being brewed, bottled, and prepared for distribution, a toxic operation capable of poisoning hundreds, possibly thousands, of people. What Metro Police neighborhood safety officers discovered on Monday was not just an illegal liquor setup. It was a reminder of how close deadly criminal activity can operate to everyday life, hidden in plain sight, relying on silence, fear, and deception to survive. In one section of the house, officers found 11 large industrial-sized drums, each filled with homemade gin. The smell alone was overpowering, the kind that burns the throat and stings the eyes. Nearby stood a machine believed to be used for distilling the alcohol, a crude but effective setup designed to produce liquor in large volumes with no concern for safety, quality, or human life. As officers moved deeper into the property, the full scale of the operation became clear. Bottles bearing the labels of 2 popular alcohol brands were stacked and ready. These were not empty containers discarded by consumers. They had been deliberately collected, cleaned, and reused to package the homemade gin. The intention, police believe, was to pass the counterfeit alcohol off as legitimate branded liquor and sell it to unsuspecting buyers. This detail alone elevates the crime from illegal brewing to something far more sinister. Counterfeit alcohol is notorious for containing toxic substances, such as methanol, which can cause blindness, organ failure, and death. Consumers believe they are purchasing a trusted brand, only to unknowingly ingest poison. Across South Africa and the continent, such operations have left trails of hospitalizations and funerals. 5 Malawi nationals, 3 men and 2 women aged between 18 and 39, were arrested at the scene. They now face charges including the illegal manufacturing of alcohol, contravening the Counterfeit Goods Act, and possession of presumed stolen property. Their youth underscores another troubling aspect of the illicit economy: how quickly young people are drawn into dangerous criminal networks, risking long prison sentences and lives ruined before they truly begin. But the arrest did not end there. The homeowner, a Chinese national, was also taken into custody. Police have not disclosed the exact nature of his role, but as the owner of the property where the illegal plant was operating, he now finds himself at the center of a serious criminal investigation. All suspects are expected to appear in the Belleville Magistrates Court on Wednesday, where the legal consequences of this operation will begin to unfold. The confiscated liquor has been sent for forensic analysis, a critical step in determining exactly what substances were used in its production. This analysis could reveal just how dangerous the alcohol was and potentially link the operation to previous cases of alcohol poisoning in the region. For authorities, it is not just about shutting down one plant, but about mapping a network that may extend far beyond Durbanville. City officials were quick to praise the swift action taken by the NSO officers. Mayoral Committee Member for Safety and Security, Alderman J.P. Smith, warned of the extreme dangers posed by counterfeit alcohol, emphasizing that such products often contain substances that can lead to severe health issues and even death. His words were not exaggeration. They were a sober reflection of a threat that continues to grow in communities across South Africa. What makes this case particularly alarming is how easily it could have gone undetected. From the outside, the property appeared unremarkable. No flashing signs, no obvious criminal activity, just another house in a residential area. Without community vigilance, the illegal plant might have continued operating for months, quietly distributing lethal alcohol into taverns, spaza shops, and informal markets. This is how dangerous industries thrive, not with dramatic shootouts or visible violence, but through secrecy and indifference. Counterfeit alcohol kills silently. Victims collapse hours or days later. By the time the source is traced, the damage is already done. Durbanville is not unique. Across the country, illegal alcohol manufacturing has become a lucrative underground business. Rising alcohol prices, unemployment, and demand for cheap liquor have created fertile ground for criminal operations willing to cut corners and ignore human cost. For them, profit comes first, lives come last. Law enforcement faces an uphill battle. These operations are often mobile, shifting from one property to another, using rented houses or unsuspecting landlords. Workers are easily replaced, and equipment can be dismantled and moved overnight. Shutting down one plant is a victory, but it is rarely the end. That is why community involvement remains critical. In this case, residents noticed something was wrong and chose to act. That decision may have saved lives. It is a powerful reminder that public safety does not begin and end with police patrols. It begins with ordinary people refusing to look the other way. The city has once again urged residents to report suspicious activity, stressing that anonymity is protected and that even small details can make a difference. Unusual deliveries, strong chemical smells, large quantities of bottles, or constant movement at odd hours are all red flags that should never be ignored. As the suspects prepare to face court, the broader implications of the case linger. How much counterfeit alcohol has already been sold? How many people unknowingly consumed it? Were other properties involved? And how many similar operations are currently running undetected in suburbs that believe themselves to be safe? For now, the Durbanville plant is silent. The drums are empty. The distilling machine has been seized, but the problem it represents remains very much alive. This case exposes the uncomfortable reality that crime does not always wear a mask or carry a gun. Sometimes it comes bottled, branded, and disguised as something familiar and trusted. Sometimes it hides behind ordinary walls, waiting for its next customer. And sometimes the difference between life and death is a single phone call made by someone who refused to ignore what didn't feel right. In a country already grappling with violent crime, drug trafficking, and economic desperation, the fight against counterfeit alcohol is often overlooked. Yet its impact is devastating, cutting across class, age, and community. From young partygoers to elderly pensioners, anyone can become a victim. The arrests in Durbanville are a warning to those involved in this deadly trade. Law enforcement is watching, communities are speaking up, and impunity is not guaranteed. But they are also a warning to the public that danger does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it is brewed quietly next door.